Okay, welcome everyone. This is Scott here again with a new video to help you learn how to trade, invest, and master your finances so you can apply that knowledge in the real world and multiply your money. And for today's video, I'll be answering the question of, is having good credit a sign that you'll also be a good trader? Now, before diving in here, for those of you who are new to the channel, I just want to let you know that I do also teach on SKILLSHARE, where you can take my very in-depth classes on options trading and stock market investing. And I provided some links to some of the introductory courses of mine in the description of this video below. So be sure to check them out, and when you sign up for SKILLSHARE using any of those links, you'll get a 2-week free trial. Alright, so now getting into it here, but before I can answer that question of does having good credit indicate that you could also be a good trader, you must first understand what it means to actually have good credit. And so you can do a very simple Google search to figure out what goes into your FICO score or your credit score, and essentially it comes down to 5 main components. You have your payment history, your amounts owed, the length of your credit history, your credit mix, and also any new credit that you have. Those are the 5 main components of your FICO score, and some of them will have a greater impact on your score than others, right? For example, your payment history is going to have the biggest impact. And so now what I'm going to do is walk you through each of those 5 main components of your FICO score and talking about how if you can be successful in each one of those, how that will translate into being successful into the trading world. So starting off first with your payment history, right? 35% of your FICO score is all about your payment history. How reliable are you able to actually pay off your credit cards every single month? And this just comes down to good money management. Right? Obviously, if you are able to pay off your credit cards every single month, then at minimum, you are obviously able to ensure that your income at least equals your expenses. Otherwise, you couldn't make those payments and you would just be going into debt. So like I said, this component all just comes down to good money management. And I don't know a single trader out there who is bad at managing their money and is also somehow successful at trading, right? Because by definition, trading is risking and managing your money to generate a return. So therefore, you have to be good at managing your finances. And so now the second main component of your FICO score or your credit score, 30% of it comes from the total amount of money you owe on your credit cards. Or in other words, what is your total debt on those cards? And debt can very easily be translated into the trading world in the form of margin or leverage. So just like with maxing out your credit cards, and therefore from the bank's perspective, you have a very high chance of defaulting. Well, in the trading world, if you are very leveraged and you're using a lot of margin or borrowed money to put on your trades to try and magnify your returns, well, now you have a high chance of blowing up your account. So if you're able to consistently minimize the amount of credit you're actually using on average, minimizing the amount of debt you have on your cards, that's obviously a good sign that you understand that having a lot of debt is not a good thing, that it's very risky. And for me and my own experience, and I would imagine this would apply to many other people as well, that understanding that too much debt is a bad thing, that it's very risky, I've applied that into my own trading. I keep my trade size very small, I don't over leverage myself, I don't use a lot of margin, and that has allowed me to keep the fluctuations in my account under control. I've never blown up my account. And so next up we have 15% of your FICO score corresponds to the length of your credit history. So ideally, if you have a long and good history, that component of your FICO score will be very strong. And this one ties back in again to the concept of good money management, right? Because if you do actually have a good and long history of credit, that means you are obviously capable of, over an extended period of time, paying your bills, minimizing your credit or minimizing your debt, etc. And trading is no short-term game either. It's a long-term game. Perhaps some people are just trying to trade or gamble in a very short-term fashion to have a huge payout and then be done. But for me at least, and I would imagine for many other traders as well, we want to be doing this for our entire lives, hopefully, over many, many years. And so of course that means you need to be able to consistently apply these good practices, these good money management practices in your trading, in your personal life, everywhere. And so next up we have 10% of your FICO score corresponds to your credit mix, which is basically the different forms of credit that you currently have. So that obviously includes your credit cards, that includes things like retail accounts or installment loans, any other forms of credit that you currently have. And so in regards to this component of your FICO score, if you are able to competently manage different kinds of credit at once, then that's going to translate very well for you in the trading world in being able to manage different kinds of financial products. right? As a trader, you don't have to be tied to just one financial product. You don't have to be just a stock trader or just an options trader. You can do both. You can also do futures. You can do bonds. You can do crypto. You can do foreign exchange. You can do all the above. Now, I'm not saying you should trade every financial product out there all at the same time, but if you can add a few of those products to your arsenal, that's going to be a very beneficial thing for you. Sometimes you might see opportunity in trading stock. Other times you might see opportunity in trading options. So having a skill set in both realms is going to be a good thing for you as a trader. And so finally, we have the last 10% of your FICO score corresponds to any new credit that you have. And so specifically, if you open too many new accounts, you try to apply for too many credit cards in too short of a time period, that's going to negatively impact your credit score. And this should make sense because it does take time to learn how to manage more and more money or more credit and how to be responsible with that new additional money or credit. Right? For example, if your total credit limit right now is, let's say, $20,000, if you were to jump that very quickly to $100,000, you could find yourself in a lot of trouble if you start maxing out your credit cards then. Now you could have 5 times more debt potentially than before. And chances are, if you are already bad at managing your $20,000 of credit, now managing $100,000 of credit is not going to make you any better. And the same exact concept applies into the trading world. If you cannot generate a consistent, solid return on $20,000 of capital, then chances are, with $100,000 of capital, you're still not going to be successful. So if you take the time to learn how to properly manage your smaller credit limit, and then you scale up, you should still be totally fine because you can apply those same principles on that smaller amount to that larger amount. And trading is the same thing. If you can first figure out how to generate a solid return on a smaller amount of capital, then chances are when you do scale up, you'll still be successful. And so there you go. Those are the 5 main components of your FICO or credit score. And if you can be successful in each one of those components, then that's going to be a very good sign for you in that you can also be successful in trading. And definitely let me know your thoughts or if you got questions in the comment section below. And also don't forget, if you want to take some very in-depth classes on options trading and stock market investing, then check out my SKILLSHARE courses, links in the description of this video. And finally, if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I drop new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you don't want to miss out. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.